So, a month ago, I made a video on the LittleBigPlanet trilogy and reminisced on how incredible those games were. Well, to an extent.
What the hell is this?
The games are practically dead now, and I really hope the spiritual successor game, Restitched, manages to recapture that magic we all felt back when we played LittleBigPlanet for the first time on our PlayStation 3s. In that video, I got a lot of comments mentioning how I forgot to mention certain games in the series that were very integral and honestly really good-ass games. I completely understand why some of you were kind of annoyed at the fact I didn't even acknowledge them, despite the fact I've played all 3 of these games and loved each of them. Again, to an extent. So this video will be me reminiscing about the LittleBigPlanet games I didn't mention in my original video. So the first one is LittleBigPlanet on the PSP. If you've seen my Size Matters video, you already know my opinion on the PlayStation Portable. I ended up selling it to get the superior PsVita later down the line because I didn't really enjoy the games on it. LittleBigPlanet PSP is no exception, sadly. Now, just because I didn't personally enjoy this game doesn't mean it's bad. The PSP came out in 2005, with LittleBigPlanet PSP releasing 4 years later on the device. The hardware obviously wasn't very powerful, but for what they had to work with, they somehow managed to make a playable LittleBigPlanet game on the device, with quite a lot of limitations and drawbacks obviously. The console could only handle 2 layers, limiting the creation process of making levels and the story levels in general. Speaking of, out of every LittleBigPlanet game, the worlds you go to in LBP PSP are easily some of the most boring in my opinion. Oh, and you couldn't play online with anyone. Just thought I should point that out. Right now, all of this sounds very negative. It sounds like I hate this game, right? Well, I don't. The only reason why I think this is the weakest game is because of the immense amount of limitations. I honestly think the developers did do an incredible job with what they had to work with. It still impresses me to this day how close it got to being like the original LittleBigPlanet on an incredibly weak piece of hardware. I mean, shit, you could take LittleBigPlanet on the go!
Oh, Sam, please stop playing that silly game and go play in the park.
Shut the fuck up, Grandma, I'm gaming!
Where are my meds? Where am I?
That shit was revolutionary and pretty unheard of at the time. The fact it even had a level editor and community levels was incredibly impressive. It wasn't even made by Media Molecule, the original developers of LittleBigPlanet. It was developed by Gorilla Cambridge, the fellas behind Killzone and the Horizon games. They did a better job than Sumo Digital did with LittleBigPlanet 3. I mean, obviously, that game was fucking devastating on launch. Then a few years passed and Sony launched another handheld, the PsVita, an incredible handheld that is genuinely so underrated. I actually love this thing. Shame it was a complete financial flop, causing Sony to abandon it. Poor PsVita. May it rest in peace. With the PsVita came another LittleBigPlanet game, LittleBigPlanet PsVita. I mean, what else would it be fucking called? Now, did this game struggle with the same issues that the PSP game did? It was also developed by a different studio too, so did it fall into the traps of LittleBigPlanet 3? Did it fuck? LittleBigPlanet Vita is absolutely incredible. I completely understand why some people consider this to be the best LittleBigPlanet game in the entire franchise. They basically took LittleBigPlanet 2 and shoved it onto this little device with the only drawbacks being the graphics. I'm not even joking. Everything LittleBigPlanet 2 had, the PS Vita version had too, except it actually had more things. So much stuff in the game took advantage of the back and front touchscreens for the Vita, stuff you could actually use yourself in the create mode. In fact, because of the versatility of the Vita, people could create shit like Space Invaders, where you'd turn your Vita on its side to play it. I don't have any footage of this, so you just gotta trust me on this one. Not only was the game itself just incredible, but to make it better, LittleBigPlanet Vita had my favorite story mode out of any of the games, LittleBigPlanet 2 being a very close second. Every world in LBP Vita has insanely strong theming, and they were incredibly creative too. Instead of it just being places in the world like it was in the PSP version and the original LittleBigPlanet, we would have shit like a massive carnival, a steampunk forest, a cyberpunk city, a huge scrapyard with a lot of roller coasters rightfully named Coaster Valley, and I can't forget Spooky Mansion. Seriously, if you want to talk about childhood trauma, this entire world genuinely scared the shit out of me as a kid. I don't think it helped that I played this section session late at night just before going to bed? Listen, I didn't think there would be an entire world dedicated to a scary mansion, fellas. This is LittleBigPlanet, the cute little sack thing game, right? I wasn't expecting any of this. So, hearing all of this, you're probably wondering, why does no one talk about LittleBigPlanet Vita? Well, the PS Vita was a complete financial flop, like I said earlier, so not many people got a Vita to play LittleBigPlanet. To be fair, I don't think a lot of people even knew it existed, considering how horribly Sony marketed this thing. They sent it out to die. Those heartless monsters. The entire franchise is pretty tragic as it is, but I think LittleBigPlanet Vita was hit the hardest, and quite frankly, I feel really bad for it. Such a good game that wasn't experienced by so many people because of Sony's incompetence. The servers are completely shut down now anyway, so there's really nothing you can do about it. It's really tragic. Then there's LittleBigPlanet Karting. Oh yeah! Okay, now, LittleBigPlanet Karting wasn't received that well, and I only found out about this like 3 years after playing it, because playing this shit on Christmas, I was hooked. It was such a fun time. I still don't care enough to look into why people didn't like it, because I really don't give enough of a shit. Nostalgia wins. My nostalgia for this is way too strong. I grew up playing shit like Mario Kart, as most people in the world did, but due to my love of Mario Kart and LittleBigPlanet, a kart racing game taking place in the LittleBigPlanet universe, well, it was genius. The story mode would have you racing through worlds from the previous LittleBigPlanet games with some banging remixes of existing songs. Let's slap on some of these bad boys. Good shit. There were boss fights too, but I remember these being a bit wank, I'm gonna be honest. Now, something I really wasn't expecting when I got the game was an entire level editor built into the game. I don't know why I didn't expect it though, it's fucking LittleBigPlanet. Ah man. I kinda wanna play this game again. I wonder if I can hop on the online mode and race people on some community levels. God fucking damn it, LittleBigPlanet has basically been dead for a while now. Sure, the servers are still up for LittleBigPlanet 3, but I don't know man, it's just not the same. All of these incredible games have just been left in the dirt by Sony. It's depressing. I mean, hey, we have Restitch coming out, remember? I really hope it fills that hole in all of our hearts. That creative hole that was left when LittleBigPlanet died. Oh, and Sackboy's A Big Adventure is coming to PC. I'm quite excited to play it for the second time because I'm a fucking loser and I buy games twice. Also, maybe buying this will mean they might make LittleBigPlanet 4, right? Right?